No new cases of MERS have been reported for 3 straight days. It's a good sign, but many affected families still report depression or insomnia. Saenuri Party floor leader Yoo Seung-min hasn't announced whether he will resign. Some party members say he needs time to resign with honor. And the newly elected Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization is a South Korean, boosting Korea's status in the shipping world. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Wednesday, July 1st. I'm Luke Clary. No new cases of Middle East Respiratory Syndrome have been reported for 3 straight days, keeping the number of MERS confirmed patients to 182 for now. Meanwhile, about 40% of the deceased patients' families report suffering from depression or insomnia.
No new MERS cases have been reported for 3 straight days. But one patient in her 80s who had suffered chronic complications from hypertension and cerebral infarction died yesterday. That brought the total number of MERS-related deaths to 33, posting a fatality rate of 18.1%. Out of 54 patients currently in treatment, 13 are in serious condition, which may push up the fatality rate.
치명률을 줄이기 위해서 주로 그 중증 환자 치료가 가능한 의료진 그리고 격리 병원을 중심으로 한 그 중증 환자 관리 체계가 가동이 됩니다.
Nonetheless, 2 patients have fully recovered and have been discharged from hospital. They are 2 patients in their 60s who came in contact with the super spreader at the Samsung Medical Center emergency room. So far, 95 patients, or 52% of the confirmed cases, have been released from hospital after making full recovery. Meanwhile, an on-site response team has been established at the city of Gwangju, where the Summer Universiade Games are slated to begin on Friday. The MERS response team will place personnel to check temperatures and support other preventive measures so that athletes and volunteers would not be affected by the disease.
Under pressure, Saenuri Party floor leader Yoo Seung-min hasn't announced yet whether or not he will resign. Meanwhile, the internal strife within the ruling party seems to have subsided. Many party members appear to agree that Yoo needs some time to resign with honor.
Saenuri Party floor leader Yoo Seung-min reiterated yet again on Tuesday that he had nothing to say regarding his resignation. Yoo continued his duties as usual, presiding over a conference and even announcing plans for a meeting between the Saenuri Party and the government on Wednesday.
예산안을 면밀하게 검토한 후에 국회가 추경을 최대한 신속하게 처리할 수 있도록.
It has been decided that the meeting with the government will be chaired by the party's policy committee chief Won Yu-chul, prompting some to speculate that the presidential office expressed its discontent with Yoo in this way. However, Yoo denied the suggestion. Meanwhile, the internal strife within the ruling party has subsided, and some party members are even discussing the possibility of Yoo's honorary resignation.
국회 일정 등을 감안해서 생각을 많이 하실 것으로 생각하고.
Some say Yoo will likely step down voluntarily after the processing of the parliamentary bill on the revision of the National Assembly law slated for July 6th. Attention is now being focused on Yoo's decision as the party representatives and critics of President Park Geun-hye are opposing his resignation.
The South Korean government proposed inter-Korean river management and forestry programs in order to deal with annually occurring natural disasters. Several solutions to improve inter-Korean relations were also presented at the Korea Global Forum 2015.
Last year, North Korea was hit with the worst drought in 100 years. And an even worse dry spell this year has caused concerns of a serious food shortage. In his keynote address at the Korea Global Forum 2015, South Korean Unification Minister Hong Yong-pyo proposed that South and North Korea jointly manage the rivers running through both countries, such as the Han River, River, and Imjin River, and cooperate in forestry projects. Some say Yoo will likely step down voluntarily after the processing of the parliamentary bill on the revision of the National Assembly law slated for July 6th. It has been decided that the meeting with the government will be chaired by the party's policy committee chief, Won Yu-chul, presiding over a conference and even announcing plans for a meeting between the Saenuri Party and the government on Wednesday. The proposal was aimed at combining the resources of the two Koreas in order to effectively deal with annually recurring natural disasters.
산림자원 공동조사, 종자교환, 양묘 지원 등 남과 북이 산림 녹화를 위해 함께할 수 있는 사업은 무궁무진합니다.
Minister Hong repeatedly urged North Korea to respond favorably to his proposal, adding that the best way to thaw inter-Korean relations at this point is for the two countries to sit down for talks. In order to end the 70-year-long division on the peninsula, he explained that a new engine for change must be found by presenting a new vision for inter-Korean ties. Also, some forum participants from overseas pointed out that South Korea must prepare for the possibility of sudden changes with the North Korean regime and create an international environment favorable to the unification of the two Koreas.
The newly elected Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization is South Korean. The organization devises international rules on the maritime and shipbuilding industries. The first ever South Korean IMO chief is expected to boost Korea's status in the world.
The International Maritime Organization is a powerful international organization that devises rules for the global shipbuilding and maritime industries. Busan Port Authority President Im Gi-taek has been elected to head the IMO, becoming the first South Korean to take the post of the so-called International Maritime President.
세계 해운, 해양 산업의 안전 항해 또 해양 환경 보호를 하는데 최선의 노력을 다하겠습니다.
Im beat his rivals in a secret ballot that was held among the 40 council members of the IMO, which has 170 member nations. It was a close race with a total of 5 rounds of voting held, as none of the 6 candidates won the majority of votes at first. Im's victory is largely attributed to his 30-year experience in the maritime industry, expert knowledge, and the South Korean government's intensive diplomatic campaign targeting the council members. Im's election as IMO chief is expected to elevate the global status of Korea's shipbuilding and maritime industries.
The idea of starting a business is growing extremely popular among college students in Korea. Colleges provide assistance to courses or clubs related to opening a business. And in fact, there's a big spike in the number of college students starting their own companies.
Summer break has begun for colleges, but students are hard at work in this business startup club, which develops novelty household items. They don't have a moment to rest since they have to prepare for an upcoming startup business contest as well as conduct market analyses and develop new products.
왜냐면 방학 끝나기 전에 한번 우리가 제품도 설계 해보고 해야지.
The number of business startup clubs for college students has more than doubled in the past 3 years. Some 600 startup companies were opened by college students last year, a 69% increase over a 3-year period. The boom in startup businesses among college students can be attributed to a slow job market, as well as assorted government subsidies and support programs by colleges, such as those that allow students to take leaves of absence while starting a company.
재정적으로 지원도 많이 해주는 것 같고 어떠한 공모전이 있다 이런 정보 같은 것도.
Nonetheless, startups by college students are generally small in size. Last year, the average startup company established by college students generated only about $12,700 in sales and hired fewer than 2 employees. However, bigger challenges these student entrepreneurs face are negative social perceptions about startup businesses and college curricula oriented toward post-graduation employment.
Information technologies have advanced to the extent that even farming can be done through the use of a smartphone. At the touch of a touch screen, you can water your crops and ventilate your farm. So-called smart farming is gradually expanding across the country. Here's more.
A farmer working in a greenhouse takes out his smartphone to check the temperature and humidity in another greenhouse located more than a kilometer away. The farmer can irrigate his crops and ventilate his farm using a smartphone. It's called smart farming.
스마트폰으로 보면서 저쪽 하우스에 있는 환기창도 열고 관리가 됩니다. 그래서 이동하는 시간이나 유리비 이런 게 많이 절감이 됩니다.
Under a new initiative, the city of Sejong will be developed into the center of smart farming, which blends agriculture with scientific technologies. Currently, some 100 smart farms are being operated on a pilot basis, but their number will be expanded further. By the end of this year, a system will be built to enable tomato farmers to check places of origin and prices using smartphones. Local food stores will open nationwide to sell the fresh agricultural produce of local farmers. Schools in rural areas will receive support in terms of IT education. The Sejong Center for Creative Economy and Innovation will expand such future-oriented farms by making use of SK's information and communication technologies.
Tuesday marked the centennial of the birth of Korean poet Seo Jeong-ju, who left behind beautiful poems still loved by modern-day Koreans. A memorial event was held to cherish his literary achievements.
The late poet Seo Jeong-ju is a monumental figure in the history of Korean poetry. He's criticized to this day for his pro-Japan activities during the colonial era, but his literary accomplishments in poetry are deemed astonishing.
마치 언어에 문화재가 있다면 바로 미당 선생님의 시가 문화재가 아닐까. 그렇게 고귀하고 소중하고 가치가 아주 있는 거다.
A grand poetry gala was held to celebrate his 100th birthday.
그분의 육성을 듣고 시를 논할 수 있었던 행운을 누린 거, 이것이 저의 생애에서 가장 축복받고 자랑스럽다는 것을 여러분들에게 고백하겠습니다.
The literary circle, his pupils, and artists who adore his work gathered to remember his achievements through recitals, dances, and songs. Researchers of Seo and his pupils plan to publish a complete 20-book collection of all his works by the first half of next year, starting with a poetry series of his approximately 950 poems.
Actress Lee Si-young is the latest victim of a vicious rumor spreading fast through social media. Her management agency says the rumor is absolutely groundless and that they will take legal action against whoever started it. Here's our Culture News Roundup.
Actress Lee Si-young's management agency has announced a stern stance with plans to take legal action in response to vicious rumors about Lee spreading through social media. The rumor alleges that the management agency is threatening Lee over a video of her private life and that prosecutors are investigating the case. Boy band trio JYJ, currently on a break due to member Kim Jae-jung's military service, will meet fans through a photo exhibition at Seoul Museum in August. JYJ have held exhibits every year since 2012, showcasing previously undisclosed photos of their activities. Idol girl group Girls' Generation will be making a comeback after an 18-month hiatus. With their new album due out on July 7th, the group will feature a new look in the music video for their album's title song, Party.
Insurance companies offer all kinds of insurance products these days. Here's what to look for in a private health insurance policy. This woman subscribed to 2 cancer insurance policies 12 years ago to prepare for her later years. Her medical bill of over $4,000 was a big financial burden, so she decided to ask for help from the insurance companies.
암은 다 같은 암인 줄 알았지. 누가 뭐 B코든지 A코든지 그걸 구분하는 사람이 몇 명이나 있겠습니까?
The woman was diagnosed with a benign ovarian tumor, which is an early stage of cancer and categorized as a disease of code D in medical insurance. The terms and conditions of her insurance package stipulate that the insurance company will only pay her 10% of her insurance contributions to treat her illness. Insurance companies pay beneficiaries based on the code of their disease. They only cover 100% of cancer diagnostic fees for code C, which stands for cancer.
보험회사별로, 상품별로, 또 가입 시기별로 소외감의 종류가 다를 수 있기 때문에 반드시 확인을 해보셔야 합니다.
When subscribing to a fee-for-service health insurance plan, which guarantees not only hospitalization and outpatient medical costs, but also drug prescription costs as well, make sure that it's your first insurance plan of this kind, because just one fee-for-service insurance is enough to cover your actual medical costs.
회사별로 보험료 지수를 비교해 보시고 보험료 지수가 낮은 상품을 선택하시는 것이 좋습니다.
You can also get insurance coverage for double eyelid surgery, but only if you need it in order to fix drooping eyelids. Double eyelid surgery undertaken for cosmetic purposes is not covered by health insurance. Costs for treating hair loss caused by aging are not covered by insurance. However, hair loss that occurs without any particular cause is classified as a disease and is covered by insurance. When subscribing to a health insurance plan, it's important to write down all the obligations for notification to prevent damage when claiming insurance coverage later. But above all, it's important to compare different insurance packages and pick the one that suits your needs best. Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.